see some of the usual suspects. Hadid, how are you? Oh, we got to talk. We're going to start with your Eyes W trade. I got to hear about this. I got to hear about how this went today. I know Andy yesterday saying,
awesome.
Eyes could gap to 16, and when I woke up this morning, I saw it was 19, and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna have some happy people in chat and in the happy hour." So we're gonna let's go ahead and cover this. Just want to say hi to everyone else here. David Anderson, hello. Joseph, hello. Brad, hello. Sebastian, Gary, Nicole, and Ignacio, hello. Welcome. Thank you for joining us, Joe. I gotta say, your Scotch collection is disgusting, in the good way. It puts mine to shame, and I thought mine was pretty good. So I am.
Yours is great too.
I am going to get a drink. I promised you guys that I would have a little something to drink here. I had a phone call that went over, so I was a little late getting here. I apologize for that. I am going to go get a drink. However, Hadid, I want you to start us off here. Tell me about Eyes. Tell me about your Eyes trade, because I know
my Eyes are 2021. It was awesome this morning. So I bought it yesterday at $1. I bought 10,000 shares and sold it this morning at $7.50.
Okay, so awesome. That is awesome, dude. So you traded the warrants, right?
I did.
Okay, and you said you bought them at $1. What was that again? What were the
$1
numbers
yesterday. I bought 10,000 shares yesterday at $1.
And today you sold them at what?
$7.50.
$7.50. My man, that's how we do it. That's how we do it. Congratulations.
And that was accidental.
That was because of squat, and it was constantly being showed on the signal. And I said, if he says it one more time, I'm buying that crap. He said it one more time, so I bought it.
That is awesome. So awesome. I absolutely love to hear it, man. That is a monster trade. Congratulations.
But it was Andy who cemented it, though, because I was going to sell it during the after hours. And because of his summation and explanation, I kept it till the morning. I mean, I was terrified. But when I woke up and saw that, I said, holy crap.
So, all right. So I love everything about that. I got to say, first of all, when you do that, when you have a position that's big like that and you hold it overnight, I've been there, man. It can be you can be real nervous. You can be kind of a wreck. You lose sleep or whatever. I'm so glad it worked out for you. And I'm so glad that our community members and our tools helped you actually make that trade. That makes all of this absolutely worth it. So again, Hadid, congratulations, man. You earned it. Great trade, 1 to 710. It's just, that's excellent. Way to go, my man. Way to go. So
I think you owe Andy a drink.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think you sure do.
I was actually going to ask Andy and Ryan to send me their a Bitcoin address so I can send them some Bitcoins.
That I do not accept that. That if Andy wants to accept some Bitcoin from you, that is.
You don't like Bitcoin?
What?
You don't like Bitcoin?
No, I love Bitcoin, but I don't want.
But I'm celebrating.
I got you. I just don't want to take from the community, right? Like I'm really honored that you would consider me, but I want to be as impartial as I can and not take from. I mean, that's really nice. That's really awesome. More ahead.
If I buy you a drink, that's okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that's what the Bitcoins will be.
You can buy me a few drinks if you really wanted to. If you don't want to send me, or if you don't send Bitcoin, you can buy me an extra drink. Then that'll work just fine. I'm really happy for you guys. That's really awesome. All right, David, thank you very much with the tickers. Let's roll through some of these. Let me go ahead and pull up the first one here. I still want to get that drink real quick. So
I need to grab a beer too. I just thought I would put these out as a follow-on to when I might nibble on those. So after we got off yesterday, I drew my Fibonacci's with my higher convictions. So these were some of my higher convictions, but these are the ones I got into after hours after we got off yesterday. So gotcha. I figured I would throw them out because that's when you find out what your higher convictions are, is when you actually put money on them, right?
You got that right.
So of that like partial list, I have a bigger list of a wish list now, but of my wish list, or I mean my shopping list, that's what I traded.
Okay. So you traded all of these names today?
Yeah, yesterday at the end, I just bought 100 shares of everything.
Gotcha.
And then I just got out of them today, like in the last 10 minutes, just indiscriminately, because I was just trading the oversold bounce.
Okay.
And awesome. They might run again tomorrow, but I was happy with today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you bring up a really good point there. So first of all, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 names that we talked about for a shopping list. David, thank you very much for bringing these here. Nicole, I know we talked about shopping list names yesterday. For anyone that might be confused as to what I'm talking about, David was kind enough to post 10 different tickers in the chat for this meeting. So if you're interested in any of those, go ahead and take a look at them. This is what I mean about quality companies that have shown momentum in the past that I think could regather some of that momentum if in fact we do pull back and then reverse. And so one of the things that one of the things that I was thinking about with the pullback here is that I think that I'm kind of still trying to figure out, are we dead cat bouncing? Has the bottom been put in? Those are obviously, the hard questions that we're gonna try to play here. But what I like here is that, especially here, I've only pulled up one of these stocks so far, and clearly TDOC was at real good support yesterday. So an entry anywhere here, I know you said you entered in the after hours yesterday, anywhere around here seems like a really good entry. If you did in fact enter yesterday, we were obviously up today. So that is quite nice. Amid a rebound in growth names as treasury yields pull back. That's what the Why Is It Moving said. And that's kind of what my larger point is here. I don't know yet if we're just bouncing. I don't know if there's going to be a sustained move. I don't know if this is going to take us back to the highs. I'm still trying to figure out, are we actually going to continue this? Was this a reversal, or do we just go right back to the selling tomorrow? So David, the way, let's keep it with TDOC here, because I know you gave us a bunch of examples, but let's focus
I'm right there with you too, right? So I just played it for the dead cat today.
Yep.
Getting out today. I just played it as the dead cat, and I'm right there with you. I kind of just think that, as it goes up and stays, up for longer than you think, it can stay down for longer than you think. And
absolutely, the market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. So be very
rotation today. Just all it was.
Say again, Andy.
Just rotation, banks and energy, which I thought were overextended. Exactly what happened.
So here's the $64,000 question. Well, I actually have two for you. The first one here is, do you think that we resume selling tomorrow in some of these?
Not necessarily. I think we consolidate a little bit. So
okay. So there's
a period of time where the market can kind of go sideways for a little bit, which is, my gut is he might sell off small tomorrow. But I'm not looking to give back that entire gain. I mean, anything's possible, but I think energy was extended, and I think financials were extended. So my philosophy was to short the high flyers at the close yesterday, which is what I did. I shorted Viacom and I shorted energy at the close.
Awesome.
And then today I think the IWM's a little bit extended, the small gaps. So if I had to guess, I took some TZA towards the end of the day.
Today?
Yeah, I took some of that at the end of the day, close to the end of the day. I took a little bit of that trade.
Did you take that long or short? I'm sorry.
I took that long. I paid what I paid for that, 34s.
So you're effectively shorting the IWM by taking a long in TZ.
Yeah, it's a 3x bear short. So
okay,
not a lot, but just I think the small caps are a little bit extended if I had to guess. But we'll see. Likely we're probably, the tech's not going to necessarily sell off. They're not going to go back to their highs though.
Right.
I don't think,
or at least not
definitely
quick.
Don't think that's happening anytime soon. So
okay, so real quick, so we're gonna get back to this. Hadid, would you be willing to share the good news with Andy while I go pour myself a drink? David, you're gonna go get a beer too, right? We're gonna come back to some of your
Andy.
names. I don't want you to miss it. So Hadi,
I
go
wanna
ahead.
thank you,
Tell
Andy,
Andy
for-
what you told the group.
Yes, I want to thank you for reinforcing my play yesterday, because I was willing to sell it after hours. I get terrified when things go the next day, but
Right.
because of your explanation and your reassurance, I kept it. And I bought it at $1 yesterday, 10,000 shares, and sold it today at $7.50.
Nice. Good for you. Good
Pretty
job,
happy.
buddy. Nice.
Offered Ryan and you to send you some Bitcoin, but I could offer you drinks, something. I want to.
No, it's okay, buddy. I'm here to help. I'm very happy for you. That's
I appreciate your help, though.
no, that's like you can get a huge move on those things when they, when they're in the money and they have a follow through the next day in the morning. But you're smart to take a profit in that. That was smart. That's a good sell.
I did, but I had greed on my back saying no, hold it longer. And then I
No, but
slapped it and I sold it.
You have to look at the opportunity cost of being able to find something else. So, sometimes you just, you never get hurt by taking profits. That's what my mentors always told me. No one will ever get mad at you for taking a profit. So
Agreed.
I agree. So
Thanks again.
Yeah, no, you're more than welcome. Congratulations. I'm cheersing my drink to you. I told you, I promised you I'd have a drink today. Here it is. So awesome stuff. All right, so let's go back to the conversation about the overall market here. So, I was actually thinking about what you said yesterday, Andy. You said you wanted to see the banks and energy reverse a little bit, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this morning I noticed, I'm looking at my chart here, and I generally don't watch the ETFs as a whole. That's probably my own fault. I like when I look at banks, I generally formulate my opinion on banks based on what Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan are doing.
Yeah, well, that's a good synopsis.
That's the way I felt. Though, to me, those are two of the cream of the crop banks. Maybe I should use some other indicator. I'll definitely look at the financials ETF. But when I saw that the banks were gapping down today, especially Goldman right at the open, I was like, you know what? I wonder if this is what Andy was talking about yesterday. And I went about my day. And then after lunch, I came back and I noticed that Goldman pretty much got back everything that it had lost in the morning. And I said, well, that's why Andy doesn't react very quickly to things, is because he knows that it's not just going to be one day. It's going to be more of a long.
No, I mean, the financials are, they move obviously with interest rates, but they've had a big move since, November, December, roughly. So that was the trade to buy at the beginning of the year. Same with energy. Now, if you believe they're going to go higher, which they probably will eventually, they're going to consolidate a little bit in here, I think.
Now, do you take anything from today's action?
Do I take anything? It's kind of a hard call if I had to guess. I'd say, it's going to be all over I think we're going to get this, interim volatility between, stuff can move very quickly now, up and down. So the liquidity is very low still in a lot of names, and a lot of things can bounce. Do I think we're going to be up 400 points tomorrow in the composite? No chance. But, do I think we're going to be down 400 points? No, I don't think so either. The semis, I think we're up, almost 7% today. That's,
Track that, if you don't mind me asking.
Huh?
What do you use to track that?
The SOX. Sam Oscar X-ray. They were up, 6%, I think. The bull, yeah.
Yeah, so the percentage that you're seeing here is the after hours percentage.
Yeah, they were up 6.13%, I think, today. So you could look at this inverse ETF SOXS. This is the short 3X. Look at how much that was down today. If you can, so you
Let's zoom in a little bit.
But from the aftermarket. But
this thing just bled all day.
That was down 20% today. So that's the short side, and the long side is SOXL.
Now, if you're trying to capture this movement, do you actually trade these, or do you trade other names? Because I feel like these doesn't necessarily offer the return. They move kind of slow.
No, they not the 3X products. They don't. No.
Okay.
They're pretty volatile.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. No, you're right. The 3X products are I guess what I was asking is like some of the just like the regular old ETFs. Like for example, XLF.
Yeah, that's a 1X product. So
right. So okay. So I wasn't specific enough. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the 1X products don't move that much. The 3X products can intraday move tremendously. You know, they're only good for kind of day trading vehicles. They're not really good for holding because of the degradation of them over time. So, but I use them a lot of times to hedge what my longs, or if I have a theory of what I think, you know, is going to happen intraday or pre-market. Everything seems to happen, you know, pre-market, you know, now, and then the market gets in this mode, and it's like today was buy all day until the close.
Yeah.
And then it kind of sold off a little bit at the close. So it was kind of that theory: buy all day, buy all day, buy all day. Okay, the close. Let's set ourselves up for tomorrow. You know, so there was a sell program at the end of the day, just to sort of see what that looked like.
Interesting. All right, I'm going to run through some more of David's names here now that he's back with his beer. We got the important things taken care of, right? So now,
I'm trying. Of course, I'm brand new with Benzinga, so I'm trying just to copy my list here without having to download it and import it into Sheets. Is there a quick, easy way to do this?
Yeah, the best way to import stuff is to just paste a list of tickers. So if you can copy just the list of the tickers, you should be able to paste just that list into Pro.
Yeah, I did that the other day. I'm in my watch list, and I did that the other day. For some reason, it's not working right now.
There might be a ticker that's a little bit different on whatever platform you're using versus Benzinga. But while you're figuring that out, let's take a look at the second stock here that you brought up. This was actually Zscaler, ZS. And you'll remember the first time that we talked about ZS here on this, we talked about the whole floating island pattern that it made, which did in fact resolve to the upside. It looks like we've almost given all of that back now here. So from a tactical trade here, this is pretty much how I would have tried to trade this too, right? We have this little island. We have the resolution to the upside. When we give all that back, we're trying to play it against this 164-ish level here. Looks like it almost touched that and bounced today. So, David, I'm assuming that this, much like your other play, you actually bought some of this yesterday and with it long for the ride today when it bounced.
Yeah, everything was like at either the 38% retracement and 1 or 2 were at the surprisingly like at 50.
Oh, do you mean the bounce spot on the Fibonacci?
On the Fibonacci's. In addition to them, so you know, my first thing is on a fundamental basis, you know, everything I buy, I tend to like and believe in, right?
Right. Me too. I'm the same.
And then next to that is just drawing your support and resistance levels, you know, just from whatever your subjective, you know, view is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then yesterday, after asking you how you did the Fibonacci's, I mean, like off and on in the past, I've looked at Fibonacci's, but I've never had like a simple tool to draw it. So, you know, I drew them all yesterday, and it was crazy how, you know, they either touched or were, you know, close to touching or had pierced a little bit the 38% level.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not this. You're talking about this level, right? The 0.382 level.
Yeah, I guess I call that the 38%.
Yeah. And I just read off the numbers on the side of the chart. You're probably right. Which stock was this on? Because I know you gave me 10. I've got Zscaler up. Which one was this on? Were you saying most of them were bouncing off of this level?
All of these were like there or better.
Right. So, and so from a tactical, from looking at this tactically, that's how I would actually do this, right? So when we've talked about the market pulling back and we've talked about things coming back in, that is often how you're going to get the ability to buy some of these for the next leg up. I mean, a couple of sessions ago, Andy was telling you a stock that he really believed in. He bought at 7. He's not going to tell you to go buy it at 17, right? He wants to wait for that to come back. I think that might have been maybe Biox or Chicken Soup for the Soul. I can't remember the exact name.
CSSE.
CSSE. But basically what you were saying is, yeah, I really believe this, but we've been on a huge run, so I'm not going to tell you to buy it up here. I'd actually wait for this to come back in. So it seems, David, like you're taking a similar approach in the sense that you're waiting for things to come back into a support level before you're actually taking a stab at them. Is that a fair assessment of your plan?
Yeah, and in this case, I mean, just with the severe sell-off here, it's kind of like the steeper the curve, the sharper the bounce back.
Yeah,
which is kind of why I just traded it for the day, and I'm trading in a tax advantaged account. Otherwise, you'd have to consider your tax hit, right?
Yeah, and just for full clarity, when I started trading, that's actually how I learned how to trade for real. I obviously the very first account I ever had was a paper trading account. I funded my first account with my own money, blew it up, and funded my second account with my own money, blew it up, and then practiced on an account that was actually an IRA. And it definitely helped me kind of learn the mechanics of trading instead of worrying about profit and all of that. And that really built up some of the fundamentals. So I know that was a very, very quick tangent, but I've actually used that strategy before to try and get a feel for what's going on before I actually put, hard-earned money on the line in a regular, in this case, a margin account. So sorry for digressing there, but I've actually done that, and I wanted to give that some props because that actually worked out really well for me. I know everyone's a little bit different, but that worked out really well for me. So in any case, David, what is your plan short term here if we actually continue to trade up?
To try to hop back in without getting sucked in and then slammed.
Would it be another like 100 share lot, kind of a smaller position?
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, I kind of have core positions in most of these from a while back, right? And then then I sold off a bunch, not perfectly timed, but I don't know, sometime in February I sold off a bunch. So this was just an attempt to recapture some of what I missed in February when these things all kept running.
Okay.
And so right now I'm absolutely in the same camp as you, where I have no idea if this is just the dead cat right here and that there's another leg down. I hate to be bearish because if you're just thinking it's going to go down for sure, then you're just going to miss out on potentially another, day like today. I agree, probably not tomorrow. So I'm what I'm hoping for, to not be totally wrong on this, what I'm hoping for is instead of a follow-on day tomorrow, I'm hoping for a little bit of a 50% retracement back down tomorI'm
So that's kind of what Andy was just talking about, right?
Oh, sorry, I missed it. I was getting my beer.
No, don't be sorry. I'm saying I'm actually saying that's a good thing, right? Andy, you said you wanted to see a little bit of a.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be. I follow the VIX. The VIX is kind of a good indicator of the market. So the VIX was down about 6% today at 24. I mean, realistically, where's the low point on the VIX going to be? Maybe 19, 20, maybe. So, I think we're going to start to consolidate and not be quite as volatile for a little while. And then maybe we'll have some more action as the bigger numbers come out mid-April for Apple and Google and all the big companies report the first quarter in mid-April, end of April.
So is that what you're waiting for? Effectively, are you waiting for that event, or are you actually waiting for a particular level to be hit? Do you want to see panic selling? What is it going to take for Andy Gold to say, you know what, I'm going to fire the cash cannon today?
No, I never. It's not about. It's kind of a feel. For me, it's there's the same $100 that's in the market, and it just rotates between what theme is hot, what theme is not hot, what areas. Obviously we're going to get some more stimulus money into the market, coupled with people having to pay taxes. So we'll have a little bit of money coming out. So maybe that kind of balances itself out. so now we're talking about where's the actual money flows. It's all about money flows. Why does the stock go up? Well, there's more buyers and sellers. Well, it's all money flows. So my gut is what's going to be in the news over the next couple of months. Probably after we get through this, there'll be a lot of talk on infrastructure, areas. So, I like ag tech. I think infrastructure is gonna take some money. I think home building is going to continue to fire away with money going into that space. So, it's all about money flows. I think tech has had. I don't think tech's going back to its highs. I think it'll consolidate. It's not going to get killed though. People will have, the normal tech, the Apples, the Facebooks, the Netflixes, the Googles. They may not pay, 50 times revenue anymore for some of these names that were traditionally, trading crazy. So I think we'll see some of that.
So let me see if I can get, and if you don't have an opinion on this, that's totally fine. But let me see. I was going to say, do you have an opinion on CAT? Tim had actually suggested this is one on his shopping list. You just mentioned the infrastructure bill.
Yeah, that's a good theme. That's a theme that will attract money, obviously. If they can get an infrastructure bill through, those are, that will attract money for sure, 100%.
Well, let me ask, can I put some
CAT a name that you would play? I'm sorry, Joe.
What were you saying? I couldn't hear you.
I was saying, is CAT a name that you would play? Is Caterpillar something you would take a stab at, or would you look for smaller?
I would probably go more I like Aztec Manufacturing. I think the symbol is ASTE is more of what I would look at, maybe. Aztec Industries. It's not a great chart. Look at it. But that's kind of that's a road construction paving equipment company. So I would go maybe that, and STRL, which is Sterling Construction was another one. I would go a little bit, less, a little bit more obscure but better earnings PE ratios. So LMB is another one. Limbaugh, that would be another cheaper one that I think could be a good idea.
Awesome.
So if you,
I have lists of them, that I think are, and then you could obviously go with the Martin Marietta's, the Vulcan Materials, and the CAT. Those are the three big ones if you want to do it that way. So, you can do all those, Vulcan, I think Vulcan, and you can do CAT. That's all the same. I just think the market's broadening out somewhat so that tech had its bounce today, and I don't think it's going back down, but I think the market's more broad now where people are chasing different things.
So as far as CAT goes here, I like the infrastructure theme. I can see that this chart is obviously it's been really strong recently. This is definitely a name that I would add on a considerable pullback.
Yes, for sure. 100%. Those are good.
Yeah, those are definitely good. Joe, I think I ran you over. It was either Joe or David that I ran over.
I had a question. It's fine. I just wanted to pop in real fast and ask because we're talking about infrastructure and we're about to pass this 1.9 trillion stimulus bill. I'm wondering, what's the next focus going to be? Is it going to be on infrastructure, or is it going to be cannabis? Like, how far out are we looking at these things? Because it's really going to be dependent upon our government in order to determine when these plays are actually going to take off.
I think construction is next, and it's not going to be as easy as the 1.9 trillion arts and entertainment bill. So
it is kind of bipartisan scenario.
So construction is, but because they just did the 1.9 trillion, Manchin wants there to be reconciliation, which there should be. When I say arts and entertainment, because they threw in museums and all kinds of stuff, mm-hmm. right? So if they had done a smaller bill here, probably would have been easier to get a bipartisan construction. But regardless, I think it's going to be construction along the line of some of these others. I don't focus on this space, but because I was just talking portfolios with my father-in-law this weekend, he's got tons of stuff in, and I didn't write them down, but he had cat, he had deer, and I looked at the deer chart, and it's it's insane. I was trying to talk him into selling half of his deer, because deer has gone straight up like it's a tech stock. But he said that they're doing more stuff worldwide, blah, blah, blah. But I did take a look at cat, just to comment on cat quickly, is cat, it's interesting, because I said cat looks more like what it's done in the past, just scaled up. But I look at stuff like that, and these things have had moves like they have every 5 years. And man, if I was in the beginning of that move on cat, I'd be taking half off, right?
Yeah, it's sometimes it's a buy on the rumor, sell on the news type of scenario.
And that's what I think is a lot of these, the construction, the idea that construction is going to happen, because you don't need the Republicans to go along with anything. Right. It's going to happen. And so I think it's all priced in and not all, but a lot of it, I think, is priced in anticipation. But I take a look at miners. My father-in-law has a bunch of kind of miners, and along those lines, like companies that deal in aggregates. So if you're going to build roads, right? I wish I could remember one where, they're one of the largest that, have gravel, right? Aggregates is what I mean.
That's granite construction, I think.
Stuff like that.
GVA, the one that that I've been recommending.
Yeah, there's a bunch of, like Aztec, the one I was showing you guys is the largest paving guy that does the paver machines for the roads. But it's a lot of them, it's buy on the rumor, sell on the news. A lot of them have already had big moves. So I think the goal is to find a theme before it happens, and that's true wealth creation.
Yeah, and I mean, just to add to that point, Andy, cat is up nearly 300% off the March lows last year. Deer is up over 300% from those March lows last year, to David's point. I mean, I'm with you. Find the theme before you actually have this move, because otherwise you're just picking up crumbs at that point. If we can,
I mean, the theme that was good. Also, the hospitals were a really good theme, but they've had, like Tenet had a huge move already. CYH, which Sandman was talking about today.
Yep.
So the hospital side, maybe it's elective surgeries. I think are kind of an interesting theme, because people have kind of delayed a lot of that stuff. So
I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing. I thought elective surgery, I don't know how to play that from a market perspective. If we have some tickers, we can go into it. But I thought the same thing. I thought some of these non-crucial
surgery,
medical,
like maybe dental plays, people avoid going to the dentist for a long period of time.
Full disclosure on that. When COVID first hit, I actually needed to have a wisdom tooth removed. Right. And I've known about this for a while. And as soon as COVID hit, I actually drove by my dentist and I saw that they had the shades pulled down. And I was like, no, I hope that place didn't close, blah, 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 blah. I ended up finally forcing myself to go there to get my tooth removed. And I told them exactly what you just said. I literally told the dentist, I was like, yeah, I know I needed to come back in here. It's been a long time, but that's mostly because of COVID. He didn't even let me finish my thought. He's like, you're not the only person that's done that. A lot of people have done that. So of course, what I thought was, well, boy, there's probably going to be some type of windfall for maybe a publicly traded name, but I didn't know what those names were.
MRI machines, the guys that have the MRI machines. So my knee's been hurting since I need to get that looked at. And now I can go to the doctor.
That's a good point. One name, Nicole went ahead and posted her shopping list as well. We had been talking about this the past couple of days. Thank you, Nicole, for posting that. One of the things that you said, you picked X because of Benzinga's recommendation today. Well, first of all, I'm a little embarrassed to say that I don't know what Benzinga's recommendation was today. However, I actually really do like this pick. This is one of the thing behind the things trade that we talk about here. Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, but steel is going to be important if we get an infrastructure bill. Right?
Yeah, but look at the chart on U.S. Steel. It's had a massive move. So
yes, but it's moved for. It's moved.
It's a double. Yeah, it's a double. Yeah, for sure.
So do you think that we could realistically get back to some of these $30 or $40 levels?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's highly levered to the price of the commodity. So if the commodity's been going up, yeah, for sure. That my theory's been on the farming side, because if you look at soybean and wheat and that's what my theory was on ag tech. So
yeah, okay.
So that's why all the fertilizer stocks went ballistic. So, I mean, we're late cycle. We're late to a lot of this. We just got to kind of look for like the uncovered stones in areas that quite haven't moved yet, in my personal opinion. So a lot of stuff has moved. So you just got to be, you got to be patient and kind of turn over all the different stones, and figure out what theme is going to be next. Because there's definitely going to be a theme. I just don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah, and then I'm just going over some of the discussion that people are having in chat here. David had mentioned, or excuse me, Joseph had mentioned SDC, which is Smile Direct Club, took off during the pandemic. Now that's true. I'm pretty sure that one of these days in here was just like a massive day trade day. Because I remember Smile Direct, there were a number of days in the chat where it seemed like everyone was buying a new car because of the profits they made off Smile Direct. So I'm not. I think that's probably in here, right? The late January, maybe a little bit further back. But you're right. This did actually take off here, and then another discussion here. Eric had mentioned ticker ISRG, which David had said was solid. I agree with you. ISRG, right? So Eric was saying. Intuitive Surgery traded quite a bit last year and it got crushed due to COVID. Many elective surgeries got postponed. This is exactly the theme that we were just talking about. Here is that crush that you were talking about, right? We went from 619 all the way down to 366. I like the thought here, and I actually like this company. One of the things that I feel like I'm taking this from Andy here, but one of the things that I would say is not only did this get all of its gains back, but it's actually moved from 620 up to 830 since then. So I'm not sure how much more this is actually going to move to the upside.
I used to own that stock at $7 a share.
You used to own Intuitive at $7 a share?
Yeah, and I used to own that. My brother's friend was like the third employee there. My brother's an orthopedic surgeon, so he was telling me about this, and this was one of my biggest winners of all time. So,
wow.
But it's a great company, but I was in that for years and years, early. So
let me ask you a question. When you look at a price like this,
I can't buy that now because I owned it at $7.
Yeah, it's at 700 and you owned it at 7. How do you reconcile that, man? That's never happened to me. Help us out here.
It's tough. I mean, I owned Skyworks when it was 5. It's like, I mean, I've been doing this for so long. I've been doing it since, the late 80s. So I've seen a lot of different price variations in these things. I mean, it's a great company. I wouldn't, not say not to buy it. It just, for me, I can never buy it because of where I've seen it from and where it's gone. So, but it's a great company. It's very well run, very well, operated. So,
no, I like this. I like this as an idea. The only hesitation I would have here is not only did we get those losses back, but we actually got gains on top of that. So that would give me pause, but that doesn't make me right. Remember that. Just to go back to what we were talking about with X, Michael had mentioned in the chat. What about competition from foreign cheap steel? So I would actually turn that over. I would actually ask the group that, do you think that U.S. steel, having competition from other cheaper steel manufacturers might kind of depress this move or might force this to trade sideways or not up? Is that a possibility? Is anyone?
Yeah, I don't like it for that, but I mean, I've never traded in that stuff, but yeah, that reason. But it's hard. I don't know anything about it though, but just for that reason, I would.
I got it, and I really appreciate I appreciate the honesty and the transparency. There's nothing wrong with commenting on stuff. If you feel you don't have an edge, mention that. I really appreciate that, David. I do that all the time when I'm asked about things I don't have an edge on.
I just think we're going to get lip service to being tough on the Chinese, and I mean, good news is if you're trading, if you're in the market, it's full speed ahead. Let the Chinese do whatever they want, steal all of our IP, and import cheap commodities and so forth and so on. It's going to go back to business as usual.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that when I think about that, because I've thought about that dichotomy too, and now that we're talking about this as a group, it's obviously back at the forefront here. One of the things that I think about when I get asked about this is, or when I'm thinking about this is, I think about Warren Buffett saying, "Never bet against America."
Yeah, well.
He's been very vocal about that. He said that a number of times. And Tim is even saying, depends on the quality of the steel from other countries' steel. So not sure if the cheapness or quality will win out. That's actually a really good point, especially when it comes to steel, whereas that's less of an issue when you're talking about something like iron, for example. Part of me wants to believe that if we do in fact get like an infrastructure agreement and all of that, that part of the entire thing will be, this is an American renaissance, or America, the build back better, to use Biden's slogan, build back better. We want to use American products, this, that, and the other thing. I am worried about going back to business as usual with the Chinese under this administration, but I do think that there is going, like you were saying, I like that. I like the term lip service, David, that I do think we'll kind of get some of that back and forth here. And I think that actually might present an opportunity for trades here. Now, Andy, you're absolutely right. This is more than a double off of some of the recent lows. Let's go back to when some of these, this was October, right? October of last year. So we're, already months past the coronavirus inception. And now we've actually more than doubled from here. That definitely something to pay attention to. I will say though, I mean, maybe this is just my bias. I do like X as a company. This is one that I've actually traded options on just because it was so easy and so liquid to trade.
And when they turn around, they really do well. They actually throw down good numbers when they turn it around, so
yeah.
They put from good to bad, from bad. It's very, very quick on these type of things. So, but it moves with the commodity price. So,
but Andy, how is the Chinese tariff affecting U.S. steel? P. Rosenberg was pointing out something interesting. China is exporting now to the EU their steel.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's competition. Obviously, it's not like It's not like U.S. steel can make money like they used to, but they can still throw down some pretty good numbers. And some of the other guys, I think, in the U.S., like AK Steel, I wonder if that still trades. AKS, I don't even know if it's still around, but there were some marginal guys that it was AK Steel was the other U.S. steel producer that publicly traded. There's a couple of other ones, but some of them actually went out of business. They actually went belly up. And so maybe the competition in the U.S. has kind of gotten a little bit less. But I agree with you. The tariffs, it's competitive. It's a competitive space, and it's going to continue to be competitive. But the demand is there. It's really it's good. It's not a bad idea. I can easily see that going higher.
Yeah.
You could easily see that going back into the low 30s. No problem. No question.
And see, that's kind of exactly what I was saying. I can also see this going higher. I think, is it reasonable to expect a double from here? No, it probably isn't. We've seen a lot of that already kind of baked in here. Low 30s. That's kind of, I was thinking right around 30. Low 30s is in the same area. So Tim also mentioned, I'd want to hear if they'll be increasing their dividend, or at least rumors of it, or the possibility of it. I'm with you there too. Dividend. Ever since when I first bought Apple, I started paying attention to dividends and how they can move stocks and all that. And news about dividends or an increased dividend, even if it's a rumor, can absolutely be a catalyst for a move higher. And I would imagine in a company like U.S. Steel, that would probably be even more prevalent, because you might get a lot of your gains from the dividends, since it's probably not going to move as much as, let's say, a tech stock. That's just me spitballing though. All right.
So strategic metals and elements, etc. So I think I maybe mentioned it, but MP, and then Piedmont for lithium, and I never know how to say it, Albemarle, and Lithium America. I mean, they're just in development stages. But as far as along the lines of infrastructure, this is strategic infrastructure that I think is going to get money and be protected. And this is where I mentioned MP the other day, where they'll help, I think, and this is where we should spend money, right? It's kind of like spending money to build the internet is for strategic reasons. We need to protect our core elements that are going to go into EV.
Yeah, and so MP, we kind of talked about this before. MP, what did we say was the only US rare earth miner?
Yes, so I believe, and it's also at the same time the second largest in the world, I believe, in rare earth. And I mean, these guys came in, they bought a bankrupt, some prior group had put, I think, like 1.4 billion into this mining infrastructure. And then these guys came in and bought it for like 300 million and are now making money with it. So it's a matter of, ramping it, and then at least what they're talking, vertical integration, where they can build a plant to actually make the magnets from the elements that they mine. So that's the long-term play. I mean, I have a little bit of long-term money in it. I'm looking to accumulate more, but I was hoping it would come down a little more again. Kind of missed the quick pullback to 33 the other day, and it was like, but I think I forget, it's run up into the 50s recently too.
So David, you also mentioned PLL, which was interesting because Joseph mentioned PLL to me a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Joseph says, Ryan, I like PLL at this price. So Joseph, so you just heard David give his thesis. Why don't you give us your thesis, and you can use PLL as the backdrop for that.
The thing about PLL was I had traded this and actually invested in it a while back. I'm already out, but when it ran up to like above 85, and this was something that we had talked about, I thought it was oversold or overbought.
Yeah.
And I emailed Ryan about this, and I was like, we had talked about this. I didn't really get into it when we talked about it on this segment here, but I didn't like PLL because I thought it was too overbought.
Yeah.
And I emailed him, and then I said, it's too overbought. I like it down at this price, and I gave several reasons. And then the very next day or two, it just completely sold off. And then I emailed him back. It's like, this looks like where it should be. So it's like, I like it at this price now. So it's getting back up there. It's I don't think it's okay. Here's the thing about PLL. They're moving from Australia to the United States via acquisition, and they really aren't making any money,
right?
So the fact that they're valuing it that high, I thought was premature.
Yeah.
So I think it needs to get some income or have some like earnings reports or something before it can be valued this high. But there's this whole speculation of lithium being like an $82 billion market over the next 10 years. So I think that's why it's up so high.
So I just saw someone also to go along with. I agree, which is why I haven't traded, but boom, it just like popped from 2 days ago. It was at 48, now it's at 68 again, right? It's just part of the whole EV hype, right? At some point, people have to start looking at the actual numbers, I think. But hype goes a long way in this market, right? But yeah, I totally agree. And I just heard a guy talk about, and I think on Benzinga they had a guy really good talking about the EV space from a materials viewpoint, and he gave a breakdown of the batteries and what the composition of the batteries were, and he was actually with a graphite company that mines graphite. But anyway, not him, but somebody else had said that where you think that lithium is a rare earth, apparently it's not. Apparently lithium's plentiful.
Yeah, lithium is not technically a rare earth metal. This is my science and geology nerd coming out right now. I absolutely love this stuff. Don't ask me why. I can't give you the why. It's just how I was built. Geology, things like this, just absolutely fascinating to me. Lithium is absolutely not a rare earth material, but it is used in many, many things. And I think one of the things that happened with lithium is that we discovered over time that it's much more plentiful than we initially thought. And I think that that's kind of what's going on in terms of why it's sometimes misclassified.
We should look at nickel some more though.
Right. So there's if you guys are interested, just say yeah, post it, because I don't want to be like posting stuff people aren't interested in. But it was lithium,
You're not
nickel.
posting, David. I'm copying everything you posting. You and Andy.
Yeah.
It's lithium, nickel. I may have written it down. It's funny. It was like old school on it. I wrote it down. It was 60 kilograms of lithium, 20 kilograms of cobalt, and 20 kilograms of nickel is in one layer. And in the opposing layer is copper. He didn't give the amount of copper, but the 70 kilograms of graphite, and the graphite's blended with the copper, and then they roll that up to make a battery.
Interesting.
And little
Sounds
tidbit,
easy.
huh?
It sounds. I was making a joke. I said it
Yeah,
sounds easy, but it's not funny.
And apparently, what the Tesla battery is made of is just kind of, I think he said, kind of AA size batteries like this, and then there's 7,000 of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, so 7,000 of them that are then linked together. It's almost like what they were doing, what Google was doing with computers.
Their new ones won't be like that though.
No, I doubt it.
No, they on their battery day they showcased their new ones. They'll be bigger and they are constructed differently.
Yeah, and so for QuantumScape, I haven't traded QuantumScape because it sounds like it might be a bunch of geniuses in a lab, that are creating something awesome that maybe can't be produced in mass production. Does anyone have any comments on QuantumScape? Never mind.
QS.
Yeah, QS. Just another overheated. They come out. The CEO's does a on-air press release, and
that's the one Bill Gates. That's the one Bill Gates funded.
Yeah.
Another company with no income.
Right.
Wasn't QS part of like wasn't there some squeeze issue here that caused this move?
It was a SPAC.
Right, but wasn't there something else where the warrants they announced that you couldn't Andy had recently told us about how people would, or how firms would short the stock and then buy the warrants to offset that. Yep. And I'm pretty sure that was something similar was happening on QS, and then the company I can't remember exactly what happened, but they said that they're no longer going to be selling any of the warrants, or you can't buy the warrants.
Well, I think the lockups started coming doing this deal.
So then all of the people that were short couldn't use the warrants to offset their short and had to cover.
I mean, the thing with SPACs that I can explain is the sponsors own these things at like next to nothing.
Right.
So even when they do a pipe, let's say they do a pipe at 10, they still own the sponsors put up the money at like $1. So their blended purchase price is still like $5. So that's why the SPAC market is struggling so hard right now, because finally I think retail people are realizing that the SPAC structure is really difficult unless the SPAC has a limited amount of shares outstanding. So I would be very careful of buying any SPACs now unless they had fewer than 10 million shares outstanding.
Everybody got a little lesson with CCIV on the financing there.
Yeah, that kind of screwed everybody over because
absolutely. Couldn't agree with you guys more.
I knew that deal was coming. I was like, what? I didn't short it, but I knew it was happening.
So on December 23rd, which is that big red candle after all that green, there's an article here or something from BZ Wire that says QuantumScape shares are trading lower after the stock surged Tuesday on reports Apple is working on a self-driving EV. QuantumScape makes lithium metal batteries for use in electric vehicles. So that's why it started dropping.
Yeah. So I mean,
Quantum is pretty much CCIV. It's like the graph is exactly same as CCIV.
Maybe there was speculation that QuantumScape was supposed to be working with Apple, or something. I don't know.
And what was the first one with the guy from Arizona with the electric? That one that went crazy and then it got killed.
Oh, that was Nikola.
That's CCIV.
Nikola and Hylandon's another one, HYLN. I mean,
it's the Lucid is the deal. CCIV is the
Lucid and CCIV are together. I think what Andy's referring to is the guy that you're talking about is Trevor Milton from Nikola.
Nikola. Oh, Total fraud. That guy, I looked him up. I mean, I missed the huge move on Nikola because I made the mistake of doing a little DD. That guy like hadn't ever done anything.
No.
And
he's a good partier though. He likes to party though.
Oh, hey,
that's got to be worth at least $10 a share, right, Andy?
Yeah,
he bought a sweet $33 million spread in Utah, so he doesn't have to do anything except for not get arrested and convicted of fraud. If he can manage to do that, he's good.
Yeah, he's like Elizabeth the Theranos chick.
Oh, big time. She's finally getting prosecuted. Did you see that? Anyway, it's a whole different side note. Finally.
Of all these EV manufacturers that make their own batteries, which one, easy answer, which one has actually secured a long-term nickel supply recently?
Neo?
I have some names of what this guy gave us.
Easy answer.
Oh.
Tesla. Yes.
Tesla,
Tesla, they just became a technical partner after Vail sold their Goro mine to a collaboration of investors, and Tesla is a technical partner, which basically allows them to have a sustainable nickel supply for the foreseeable future.
So that's
Tesla owns Bitcoin, which we all know is going to the moon. So I'm sorry, David. Go ahead. I'm done with my bad jokes.
I'm just going to follow on quickly to Joseph. So Joseph, that's the name I was going to give you for the nickel supply was Vail or Vale. Yeah. And then along those lines, so this is where Piedmont spiked a little bit initially, was in the 30s when it was announced that they had a deal with Tesla for the lithium. So there's kind of that linkage too, right? So
yeah, but that's the thing about PLL is they aren't making money, and so it shot up when they announced that, and then it went down to about the $20 area, and it just has been gradually coming back up as EVs continue to get hotter. But Vail, I've been watching this. I'm actually in this one too, and I have calls. They're selling the Goro mine, so that particular region they're trying to get out of because that mine for them has not been profitable. They do lots of other business elsewhere. I think they get their nickel from Russia as well. I'm not sure. I'd have to look more into where they get more nickel, but they're basically out of that area. They don't want it. That mine was not profitable for them.
So they're basing right now. Where do you think that they can go based on the financials?
I don't know. Was only here's the thing. They haven't announced what the sale amount is. So they're going to be getting billions for this. And as soon as I imagine as soon as that news comes out, and whether it's from Elon or for whoever about the figures of this deal, then that should definitely be a bullish sentiment.
Near term, I think 22 is attainable, David.
But it doesn't look a little bearish to you right now, though. It just curious.
Well, so I think that this consolidation that we're going through, I think that eventually when we snap this, the move could be violent. And I'm just going off of what Joseph was just saying. If they get a positive headline, I think this is going to be an up move. I could be totally wrong. I'm just going by what I'm looking at. So if you're asking me, is this bearish? Well, we just had a really nice power move from 10 to 17. So yeah, I could see some regression there or some tests of some of these former highs. But in reality, if we break out of this compression to the upside, I absolutely think 22 is attainable. That's a $5 move.
That's also a South American stock that floats with the Brazilian market. I think it's a Brazilian company. So,
it is.
So that's going to float a little bit with the EWZ and the Brazilian ETFs that trade. So that's going to track the Brazilian ETFs, I think.
I'm in that also. I'm in that also. How long are you going to be in that, Jonathan? Because I was thinking about holding that one for at least a year or two.
What do you mean?
Valet?
Vail, yeah. Is it Vail or Valley?
You know what, man? I mess it up every time. So
I think it's Valet.
Valet. It's South American.
It should have a T. It should have a T if it's a Valet. I call it Vail.
It's South American. So
it's South American Valet.
It's a big company. I mean, it's one of the big blue chip companies. So
they just had a dividend too. That kind of got snuck in there too, and I don't think a lot of people noticed. But
I used to trade this thing when it was around 4.
Well, it's
Bye-bye.
it's a highly levered company. So
Yeah.
so it's levered to debt. So, you know, if
All right.
if rates go up, it won't be that great for that kind of company. It's highly levered to interest rates. So
Sebastian, your Peloton did nicely today, as did most things, but I was watching it thinking of you.
Oh yes, man. I got to tell you, I'm not selling that for at least 5 years. I absolutely love the company.
I'm waiting for FRX to get back to below 11 potentially, and you know, for the rest of the market. I'm with you on the high end on Peloton.
But you know what? There's another one that I like for a long-term play. You know, a lot of people didn't know what was going on when Square bought Tidal from Jay-Z.
I
but
do.
I've been on.
You know, I take everything back I said on that. It's going to be NFTs with music. So
yeah. So I was on Clubhouse the last couple of days, and they were talking about it, the Clubhouse app. And I'm talking. Hold on now. And basically, what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to find a way to go directly from the artist to the consumer and bypass all the middlemen. And so I don't know how they're actually going to be able to scale that, but if they can figure it out, I think that's going to be a major disruptor. So I'm looking for an entry point for Square, and I'm going to load up on it in the next few weeks.
Yeah, the entry point's here.
we are actually at some pretty nice support. I really like Square. I mean, I think that I think the future is bright for Square. I like a lot of these digital payment processors, but in any case, we are at the top of the hour here. We're actually a little bit over. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. As always, participation today was absolutely awesome. David, thank you for bringing a shopping list right from the start. Hadid, if you are still around, congratulations on your monster trade. That's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, congrats on that.
Congrats, man. So join us tomorrow. We will be back at this tomorrow, Wednesday in the evening. So everyone have a great day.
Sorry, just real quick. Did we lose Alice? Is she still on for SOS? I was curious because Mara and Riot, you know, went crazy today with the rebound on Bitcoin.
I see Alice joined, but I haven't seen her in the chat. So we will.
Mara really up. Really, I really broke through it. That was completely out of expectation. I thought it was going to go down, and I closed my options as well on Mara.
Oh.
So let's review the Bitcoin plays tomorrow. Let's see what tomorrow brings and go over the Bitcoin.
Big IPO coming tomorrow. Roblox. Big IPO.
Oh, it is. Oh,
that's coming tomorrow. I think at price.
So what's the ticker?
RBLX.
RBLX. Okay, so that is your IPO for tomorrow.
Kids.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that IPO. Andy, are you going to trade this or no?
I might, because my daughter uses it, so I spent so much money on it. I'll be forced to buy a little bit of it.
All right, that's okay. There's your tease. In this business, we call that a tease for tomorrow. So we are going to discuss the Bitcoin plays and the RBLX IPO tomorrow. We're going to lead with that.
And he's funding the movement.
Is the chat saved? Can we re-access the chat after we close out?
I know that the log saves. I don't know.
Oh, you are recording. So if you could send out a link to the recordings, that would.
We actually don't record and upload the happy hour just because we do it every day. If you need if anyone needs the text from the chat, I would be happy to send that to you. Just shoot me an email. Let me throw my email in the chat real quick. But guys, I'm up against the clock. I got it.
Okay, thanks.
I'm really sorry.
Thanks. Bye.
If anyone wants the copy of the chat, email me. I will send it to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, we will see you tomorrow. Thanks very much for joining us. Happy trading.
Thanks.